Hey, look at us. We still don't have a Switch 2 yet. I really thought that they would have an announcement about the Switch 2 already, but this was definitely in 2024. It was definitely the final year of the Switch. Um, a system that has been around for a long time, but seems to have aged a bit better than the Nintendo Wii. I remember I remember being big into the Wii and wondering as it got towards the end of its life cycle, like, what was going on? It really didn't feel like they were releasing that many games for it, and honestly, they haven't released as many games for the Switch as they did earlier on. But I don't know if it's the increased digital distribution of games and proliferation of indie games and digital games on every platform ever, but it seems like there's always been more stuff coming to the Switch and more options for people that needed to buy or wanted to buy a new game. So that's good. I think the decision making towards the end of the Wii's life cycle, where it didn't seem like anything was happening and it seemed like a new system should have arrived already and didn't, maybe because it was the Wii U. We all know what happened to that. I think they've done a better job this time. Sales of the Switch have continued pretty well to the point that I think it's one of the highest selling video game systems ever. I I'm not sure if it passed the PlayStation 2, and I don't think it passed the Nintendo DS, but it's certainly Nintendo's best selling home console. Of course, it's a home and a portable console at this point, but it has done really really well. I don't know how many of the best selling games on the system have come out in the past couple years. I think it's basically the last Pokemon game and the last Zelda game, but putting out a game that sells 20 million copies that late into the console's life cycle is pretty good. As I'm looking at the list, Tears of the Kingdom has sold 21 million copies. I have Tears of the Kingdom and I haven't played it yet. I really should. That might be next on the docket. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, that was 2022, but it still sold 25 million copies, so they're doing good. Some of the best selling games I've ever done are on this system. Like I guess let's go over the top 20, right? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has sold 64 million copies. I have this game. That was one of the first games I bought for the system, but I didn't end up playing it all that much. Like I didn't understand how much DLC they're putting out for it and how many tracks are on this thing, but like it's one of the best selling video games of all time, like Nintendo or otherwise. And it's crazy that that's actually just a port or something from the Wii U. So jokes on all of us. The Wii U's the most popular Switch game. Animal Crossing has sold 46 million copies. That's absurd. I have heard that it's been long enough for the last Animal Crossing game that maybe Animal Crossing becomes early in the Switch 2, especially if they're going to do like social or social media aspects. I think that's a pretty good idea. It's a pretty good idea to start off with one of your heaviest hitting, most successful franchises when a new system comes out. Smash Brothers had 35 million, which is nuts. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild had 32 million. Like I can't overstate how good Zelda has sold on this system. Like everyone loves Zelda, but it's not like the cash cow for Nintendo. It's not Mario, it's not Pokemon, it's not Animal Crossing, it's not Mario Kart. Like 32 million is crazy. And as I said before, the sequel had like over 20. Like that's nuts. I think Ocarina of Time is like one of the most beloved games of all time, and that didn't get anywhere near those numbers. Partially because the N64 wasn't nearly as popular as the Switch, but it's just crazy. Super Mario Odyssey is now at 28 million. Pokemon Sword and Shield is at 26. I will point out that at one point in time, Pokemon was the thing that sold the most on handhelds or whatever. Um, Mario outsells it. Just saying. Pokemon makes up the numbers by having just a bunch of Pokemon games on any one particular system. The remakes, multiple generations on the same console, but like, hey man, that Mario game sold more than the Pokemon game, so just saying. Pokemon Sword and Shield at 26, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet at a little bit less than 26. I actually thought Scarlet and Violet would sell a lot less than Sword and Shield, but I don't know if it was the open world concept that convinced people to double dip, but it seems like with those numbers, you really got a mid-20s level of sales for a core Pokemon game, which is pretty nice. Tears of the Kingdom, I said, was at, as I said before, was at 21. Super Mario Party is almost 21 million. I don't know if I know anyone that has the Super Mario Party game. I haven't played a Mario Party game since the N64, I think. So that kind of surprised me a whole lot. New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe is at 17. I can't remember if I think I got that. I want to say I got that and not the 3D Mario game. Ring Fit Adventure at 15. Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu, and Eevee. There's going to be a lot of Pokemon games around the 15 million. Let's Go, Pikachu, and Eevee. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, neither of which I did. Pokemon Legends Arceus. Like, it kind of seems like there's like a mid-20s level of fandom for these Pokemon games, and like the side ones are about 15, which is a bunch, but I am one of those 10 million people that go, nah, I don't need that one. Nintendo Switch Sports was 14.37. Luigi's Mansion 3 at 14.2. Good for Luigi's Mansion. That seems like a really high number. Splatoon 2 at 13.6. Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury 13.4. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. That one, man, I thought that came out recently. It did come out last year at 13.4. And then Mario Party Superstars, again, another Mario Party game at 13. Yeah, so all of those things are pretty, those are big numbers. They've sold a whole bunch of games on Switch. I do think it was smart of them to not announce a Switch 2 until after the holiday season, which seems to be what's going to happen, so that you get that one last Christmas season of buying Switches and buying all the Switch games. And I think it was also a very good idea to say that the Switch games will work on a Switch 2. So not only is it good for the consumer in that I would like the games to work on multiple consoles so I don't have to keep dragging out one for one game, one for the other, but it also means that your sales are going to be good too, because people don't have to back off of a game that they might think their kid or their partner wants, but are worried about it not working on a new system. So last year, the Switch, last year of the Switch, which is a very successful console, I'm sure they wish they could do more numbers. I'm sure the sales numbers have dipped down, but it was better than the Wii. Let's put it that way. It was not a trickle of content.